Episode 7. 7 weeks doing this shit. Hell yeah. I'm currently in line at the car wash. I want to clean my car pretty good today. Went ahead and grabbed all of my detailing supplies out of my storage unit temporarily so I can get everything nice and spick and span. I've lost another 5 pounds, so in total I'm down 15 from when I started. It's also getting really hot here in Illinois. It's over 100 degrees some days. Even at like 7 p.m. it's still 100 degrees, which is insane. So I've been sleeping with the car on and the AC blasting, which is dipping into my gas reserves a little bit. I'm spending a little more money every week, but it's better than dying in your sleep of a heat stroke. And I estimate that I'm about 13 weeks away from getting the box truck, which is super exciting. I think I keep my registration and my insurance in an envelope right here, just because I use my glove compartment to store other things, because I'm a little short on space here. Plus, if I get pulled over, I don't have to reach for my glove compartment and make the dude nervous. It's just right here. But I think what I'm gonna do is draw 13 circles, and then every weekend I'll mark one off. It'll be kind of like a motivational tracker. I had a pretty interesting week. I did some training at one of my jobs, which moved basically my shifts to the morning shift all week. So my sleep schedule was a little thrown off for the first few days, but I quickly adjusted to it, and I'm back to my normal schedule this week. I was selected to test out like a bionic exoskeleton, which was pretty interesting. It was a very weird experience. It, like, when you turn it on, it helps you walk. Like, it lifts your legs for you. Like, you would just effortlessly float across the ground. Basically what it does is there's a cummerbund, and it hugs your lower back. And when you're picking up boxes, it doesn't allow you to use your back at all. So you have to use all of your arms. Like, I picked up an 80-pound compressor, and whenever I put it down and started standing up, the suit, like, it thrusted my hips forward and made me stand up, like, instantly. Like, it's a very weird experience. I think we're flirting with the idea of getting a couple of them for some of the heavier items that we keep in stock in the warehouse. I don't know if I'm gonna be using it, because my job now is more to plan out the warehouse and where we store things efficiently. Had a really fun weekend. Wasn't able to, go to church, or I didn't go to the gym either, because I really didn't have time. Spent the whole day yesterday fishing with Jessica. The whole first part of it was pretty frustrating. Fishing teaches you that patience is indeed a virtue. Spent most of the time untangling my line from trees or itself. Wasn't really catching anything for the first few hours, while Jessica was just catching bluegill after bluegill after bluegill. She got up to I think 7, right? And I wasn't getting anything. So then we moved spots. I had her teach me how she was fixing worms to her hook, and I tried it her way, and then I caught a smallmouth bass. That was about that long, and then I caught a few bluegill after that. So I think my issue was the way that I was hooking the worm on. The fish were just able to eat it straight off of the hook. So I ended up taking that to Jessica's house after we were done, and filleting it and cleaning it and keeping it in her freezer. We'll make, fried fish or tacos or something whenever we get more fish. We checked out a nice Indian place after, which was delicious. I got the heat level up to 8, which is pretty spicy, but I can do more next time I go. I'm probably gonna do a 9 or a 10 even. I love spicy food. Thank you. also changed the brakes on a buddy's car from work. So I did that yesterday morning before I went fishing. So I really didn't have time to do anything else, which is fine. I didn't charge him for the brakes at all. He just bought the parts. I think it's good to do things for people. You know, it only takes like an hour and a half of my time to do somebody's brakes. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not hurting for money or anything. And plus, I've done it 100,000 times. Actually, it ended up being that, you know, the person who did his brakes before, I don't know what happened, but he must have installed them wrong or accidentally put the old pads back on somehow, because there was no meat left on those brake pads. So basically his caliper was compressing so hard that it shattered the piston on his caliper, and his rotor was like, it wasn't warped, but it was scraped to all hell. I was just expecting to do the rotor and the brake pads upon the initial inspection, but when I got everything off and I took a look at his caliper, I tried to compress it with a C-clamp so I could get the new pads in. It was shattered, so I had to go to Advanced Auto Parts and get him a new one. So I had a pretty full day yesterday. I changed his brakes, and then I went fishing for like, must have been like 7 or 8 hours. And then Indian food after. Once a weekend I try to get like an electrolyte solution, like Pedialyte. I'm sure I'm getting plenty of salt. It's just nice to have that assurance that I'm getting all my electrolytes to keep my energy up. Plus it has the added benefit of giving me a emergency pee bottle. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. I got like a camping stove. The case is a little too big. I'm probably gonna just toss it and see. Hopefully the burner itself is smaller, because I'll be keeping it in a backpack. Small cooler. Here's the mentioned backpack. Got some olive oil, 9-inch pan, cutting board to clean the fish, tongs and spatula, cleaning brush, butane. The worst part about shopping is it generates so much fucking trash. Like, everything's got 25 tags, stickers. I'll be keeping this backpack in the cooler behind the seat on the floor underneath the bed. It's bigger than I was hoping, but I think I'll be able to manage. Oh, it's all gonna fit. Look at that. Just barely. Oh, it's beautiful. I'll keep all my extra fishing supplies in there too, just so I can consolidate everything to be in one location and I can just grab one thing. Actually, when me and Jessica went fishing, I left my wallet and my fishing license in the car, so we had to turn back to her house to get it. Dark chocolate, amazing. I am also due for an oil change, so that's what I'm gonna go do right now. While I was swinging back by my storage unit to put my car detailing supplies away, I decided to go ahead and pick up my copy of Don Quixote. I have it in the original Spanish, and I also picked up a composition book. I have like 20 of them in there, because I'm starting to take more seriously my Spanish. I don't really use, you know, apps designed to learn languages, because I think the way the reward system is set up is it makes you believe that you're making progress just because you're doing something daily. I think Duolingo and other apps like Babbel or whatever, I think they're useful as like supplementary to a rigorous, you know, research of a language. But I don't necessarily think it's like the end-all be-all tool to help you learn any language. So that's my 2 cents on it. The thing that I do to learn languages is I literally just pick up copies of books that are like culturally relevant to the language and translate them. That's how your brain is designed to learn things, especially languages. It's by pattern recognition. And if you're just, you know, reading sentence fragments and like just memorizing vocabulary on apps like Duolingo, you're not really building a mental map of how the language is structured. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I've got a copy of Don Quixote in Spanish. In Italian, I have La Divina Commedia and the Decameron. I think that's how you pronounce it. In German, I have a Faust by Goethe, and I also have an English translation of that, so I can read them side by side. And then in French, I have The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, and I have several novels by Sartre. But right now, I pretty much only have the opportunity to practice my Spanish because almost everyone I work with speaks Spanish. And also, the only friend I have here is Jessica, and her English is alright, but it's not great. So, I'm constantly having to learn how to say things in Spanish so that she can understand me. So I have the opportunity to refine my Spanish. I don't really have anyone to speak Italian or German or French with here. I've met one French person since I've been here. I haven't even heard German one time. I've heard a lot of Polish, Ukrainian, Russian. I don't have any books in Russian, mostly because I don't know the Cyrillic alphabet yet. But we are getting there. I do intend to learn a couple of Slavic languages, mainly Russian and Serbo-Croatian. I just really like learning about language and learning languages. I like talking to people, experiencing other cultures. I even go so far as to learn linguistics and etymology. It's just fascinating to me the way that language is it's so complex, but it's so naturally intuitive that we don't even think about how it actually works, cognitively. It's amazing. So yeah, my best advice to you if you're learning a language, I would try to steer away from just mindlessly learning and memorizing vocabulary, and just put yourself in situations where you're having to hear the language and understand what the language is trying to communicate informationally. Because when you're a child, that's how you actually learn English for the first time. It's not because somebody sits down and teaches you the word for every single thing that happens to appear to you visually. It's that you are just immersed within the language itself, and you pick it up by listening to other people refer to things. It's not that they're directly teaching you, you're learning a language secondhand. Another practice that I do, I get as many movies as I can that are also culturally relevant. In Spanish, for example, I get movies that are both from Latin American countries and from, the Iberian Peninsula, Spain. Sometimes with English subtitles, sometimes with Spanish subtitles, just because sometimes people speak Spanish so fast that it's hard for you to really pick up on what the word is that they're saying, because they're compressing all of the consonants together. But I think it's most helpful to re-watch the movies once you have a basic understanding of, the plot and you can follow along. It's just to watch them without any subtitles and watch for facial expressions and for gestures and how they refer to the scene and the props and the people around them using the specific words that they're using. Apps like Duolingo and shit, yeah, cool. If you want to use them, go right ahead. But I think you're probably wasting your time. I think they're designed to be the easy way out or the path of least resistance, and it kind of puts you into a lazy mentality where, because you have that reward system to where, oh, well, I'm doing Spanish lessons every day, which means, which to me, I'm going to assume that I'm learning Spanish, but you're not learning Spanish, especially not as effectively as you can be learning Spanish. And once I realized this, it made me realize okay, well, people have been learning languages for literally hundreds of years. what is the historic precedent? And what that is you get fucking books that are in the language you're trying to learn and you translate them rigorously. Yeah, it sucks. It really does. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it's the funnest thing you're gonna be doing. I find it fun because I'm fucking crazy. If you're really that passionate about learning a language, you should be willing to put in the effort to learn it. You know, don't learn languages passively. Like, get into the nitty-gritty of the language and teach it to yourself. The reason people don't learn languages in school efficiently is because the lessons are boilerplate and they're not designed to speak to you as an individual learner. When you teach yourself a language, you have the added advantage of creating your own system, you know, and testing yourself and testing your curriculum and how to better apply these concepts to the way that you're best gonna learn them. I promise you 100%, like, I know you probably have trauma from trying to learn a language in high school, but it is 100% easier to teach it to yourself. I promise you. Step 1, get culturally relevant books that are in the original language that you can translate. Step 2, watch movies in the language without the use of English subtitles. Step 3, go out and talk to people as much as you can. I promise you, no one's gonna find it like awkward or embarrassing but you. When I started learning languages, I thought that, but one thing that I quickly realized is that other people really enjoy it when you take the time to learn something about their culture, you know? Every time I speak Arabic to somebody, their face lights up. It's insane. And that does it for my rant about learning languages. Sorry. Well, I just made it to the laundromat. I think that about sums it up for the week. Nothing really more I need to report. I don't know. I never know how to close these things out. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updates. Turn off the news. Go outside. Meet people. Much love.